Hey there, it's Sierra again. The debate that I chose to watch was the sweatshop debate, and I really enjoyed watching all of the pros and the cons of the sweatshop, and I have to say that I learned a lot. There's a lot of information that I had no idea about, so it was very fascinating watching it all. I think that I would say that I probably understand both sides of it, so I have a hard time kind of choosing if I am pro or if I'm anti sweatshop. I think that living in the West, I think that we kind of promote sweatshops because there's such a market for it. And I think that as long as that there is a market for us who want to buy stuff very cheaply, that there's always going to be a market for sweatshops. But I also agree with the anti-sweatshop people where they are saying that the conditions are horrible, it's inhumane to allow people to work in such conditions. I totally agree with that. I think some of the thoughts that I had while I was watching all of these videos was who, the first one I think, the biggest one I think to me is who is allowing these sweatshops to happen. I mean, obviously it's the country that they are in, but who is actually running it, the show? Is it the country that they're in? Is it a business from the country, or is it really a country, or I'm sorry, a business who is run by the United States? Like, is it that? Because if it's that, then I feel that like we need to make some sort of, there's got to be something that we can do to make sure that that doesn't happen anymore. But like I said, again, the hard thing is as long as there's a market from the West that wants to buy some things that are super cheap, I feel like there's always going to be a way for sweatshops to kind of be around, even though the people who do get stuck in the sweatshops the most are women and children, which is super inhumane, and it's kind of hypocritical of the United States, I feel, because because we have such child labor laws and we have people, but it's almost like we just turn a blind eye because it's not in our country. So as long as we get what we want, as long as we make money, as long as it's like a good trade deal for us, it doesn't matter. We're just going to allow all these sweatshops to happen, which can kind of be, it's kind of hard because over whether we should be the world's policeman or not. And I think this is kind of one of those things where, do we kind of step in and say, hey, like, this is not okay, we're not going to buy from these sweatshops anymore. But at the end of the day, as long as there's a market for it, as long as, we believe in a free market, that's, as long as there's a market for that, we're always going to have sweatshops because there's always going to be a company that's going to want that's going to have like cheaper labor. So I kind of, there's a huge part of me that doesn't believe that sweatshops should be allowed and should be legal because it's just so hard on all the people that work there. But at the end of the day, I don't know how it's really going to change because like I said, as long as there is a market for it, there's always going to be that. As long as the United States wants to buy cheap things, there's always going to be a market for that. So thanks for listening and have a great night.